Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you very much for being here. I know it's a little bit late and while the rest of the people is having party, we are here. Yeah, we're here. So we really appreciate this. My name is Henry, and together with my colleague Oscar, we will discover together how we're moving from paper to digital data in a unit in the aeronautical world, which has been sometimes left aside, which has been there considered like let's say a secondary service, but now it's getting a lot of importance. And we're going through this revolution because we're moving from paper to data in the Aeronautical Information Service. I don't know how many of you are working for an AIS unit. How many of you have worked? Okay, some people over there. Okay. How many of you have heard about this transition from AIS to AIM? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, I know that that's a document that was created by ICAO. It's given a lot of headache, yeah, especially the AIS units. But who of you know how it all started? Who had this brilliant idea of saying, hey, let's forget about paper and let's move to have databases and to have digital data and to exchange the digital data. Okay, some people know already how it all started, yeah? Of course, we're going to focus right now on a service that actually was the proof of concept that this was possible. And this is what we will try to discover together here. So we're talking about a revolution. And first of all, we need to define what is a revolution. Revolution is a change, yeah? Something is not working and then we change it, but not a simple change. It's actually a change that creates a fundamental update or change in a community or in a society, yeah? Some people might associate revolution, the word revolution, with violence or with some type of agitation. But not every revolution is like that. Just to give you an example, back in the 90s, we had the so-called peaceful revolution in Germany. So that brought a lot of benefits to this country, yeah? It reunited a lot of families, and of course, it actually wrote the history for this whole nation. So in the same way, we're also moving, we are in a revolution in the AIS context, yeah? We are having some changes that will actually change the way the community, the AIS or AIM community, it's actually living and working together. So if we define what are the steps in the revolution, we see that at the very beginning something is wrong. Something you realize, the community see that things are not as they have to be, yeah? So this is the first step when we realize that something is going on. And then we need to change it. We need to fix it. We need to update it. The second step, once you know that you have to change something, is to face all these problems. Yeah? And we know that it's not easy because you need to find resources. You need to look for allies. You need to fight also against the resistance because every change brings resistance as well. So nobody said it was going to be easy, yeah? The third step, it's actually when you have the power, you have changed the things, and then you have got what you wanted, but then what? Yeah, somebody has to maintain this thing that you have been very hard working for, yeah? So in AIS, we have gone also through all these steps, and first of all, let's see what was wrong. What was wrong in EAD, and actually, what's more important, how we fixed it. I don't know if you have seen a box that I have here, and actually, it's not a bomb. Actually, I have here hidden something which, just make sure, Oscar, that this is not a bomb. I will show you what was wrong, yeah? But first of all, if you see around, I mean, we are in this Congress, and wherever you go, it's full of technology. Yeah, everybody is showing their state-of-the-art products. Yeah, but in aviation, we have a product which is very important because actually this product is actually the one that gives us the information. And this product is actually this one. Yeah, actually it can even work out. Yeah, it's like 5 kilos each. I don't know how many of you know this. This is the AIP, the Aeronautical Information Publication. Yeah, and if you think about it, this one contains the most important information in aeronautical. And yes, of course, I need to go the old school looking for it. Yeah, but now we are more used to Control F. How many of you is familiar with what Control F? Yeah, for finding something. Of course, I mean we're familiar with that, but still our information is in this format. Yeah. Somebody will say, okay, but you can put that in a CD, like this. Okay, so far so good. But I haven't seen teenagers here, but I can tell you that if I give this to a teenager, they don't know what to do with them. You might say, wow, they are ignorant, yeah, because they don't know how a CD works. No, it's simply because this is too old. Even CDs are too old. Yeah, they don't know how to, they are used to download things. Download the music, put it in Spotify, everything is online now. So even this is too old. So where we are heading to, because this is what was wrong, yeah? So we want to go mobile. We want to have access to the AIP actually in handhelds like this, yeah? So this is actually what was wrong. And how it was fixed. We will see why it was fixed with EAD. EAD is the European AIS database. It started 16 years ago, and we will see how this new model was revolutionized at that time and how it changed the history of AIS to AIM. Yeah, we all are crazy about AIS to AIM, but the beginning of everything, or the proof of concept of this new idea, revolutionized idea, was actually the EAD. So now that we have the EAD, ICAO and the community saw that this was okay. I mean, they had a mechanism. We will see what is EAD. Yeah, they had a mechanism for exchanging the data. So they thought about this transition from AIS to AIM, from moving from a service to a management service. Yeah. So, and if we can summarize this, AIS to AIM is actually moving from paper to data, to digital data. But now that we are here, we find out that there are a lot of challenges. Because as I mentioned before, the AIS units all over the world, they have been relegated, yeah, like a secondary service. And now all of a sudden we have a importance. And let's see how we move to the digital world. When we have the power, it's because we have guidelines from ICAO. We have groups working, very hard working, defining what is the way that we need to move forward, and we have the technology, which is more important. Yeah, but then how can I transfer this knowledge, this expertise to all the community? Training is the key, and actually my colleague Oscar specialized in training, and he will guide us more through this training. So what was wrong? And this is what I showed you before with the AIP in paper. We're talking about the standards which have more than 70 years, when back in 1947, the PANG's NOTAM procedures were created. Some years later, ICAO created the Annex 15. Yeah, the Annex 15 is actually the Bible of AIS. But you see, it was adopted as the Annex 15 in 1953. So we're talking about standards, and actually in this document, it described the main product was actually called the IAIP. I don't know how many of you have heard of this IAIP, Integrated Aeronautical
Information Package.
Information Package. Thank you, Oscar. Yeah. Now it has changed. Yeah, with the latest amendment of Annex 15, it has changed, and now they call it Aeronautical Product. But anyhow, this was the main products of AIS, which were mainly printed documents, and NOTAMs, which were encoded, and and these NOTAMs are actually a little bit difficult to understand and to decipher. So we have the products. We're back in the 1940s. And how do we exchange these paper products? How do we exchange letters, for instance? You remember? I don't know how many of you remember how many times you sent a letter. Yeah? Of course, we use conventional mail. So same thing here. We use conventional mail. All data providers, they created their products, their AIP, their NOTAMs, and they made this crazy exchange of information. Yeah? So this was also not good because in a side we have all standards in all formats, and we also have this crazy exchange where everybody has to exchange their information to everybody. But the most affected one is actually the data user. Because the data user, I mean by data user, the airline companies, the pilots, the dispatchers, they also need to subscribe to all of them. Yeah? And they come in different format, they come even in different language, and they have to get this information, the data users, and even translate them and create their new products. I mean, we are not making things easier for the data users and for the pilots. So how it changed? We have the same picture. Yeah, we have the same picture. The data providers creating their products, but it's changed because instead of having this mess of exchange of information, instead of this, we have a centralized aeronautical database. This was created back in 2003 in the EAD. And what we did is actually that instead of everybody exchanging with everybody, we have only a pool, we only have a single place where the information is stored. Yeah? Obviously, the most benefited one from this one is the data user. Where does the data user go? He goes only to one single place to get the information. Yeah? And of course, he's receiving these not only from a single source, but it actually is receiving coming from a centralized database where we have quality measures, where we have business rule checked, so the consistency of the data is assured. This database actually, that it was implemented back in 2003 in EAD, it's a worldwide database, meaning that it contains information from all over the world. Yeah? Up to now, right now we are in 2019, we have more than 40 countries using this database for the creation of their products. But it still contains the data from all over the world. Yeah? So who then puts the rest of the data here? The company I work for, Group ED, we complete the whole data for this database. Yeah? So that means that we are subscribed to the publications from all over the world. And that means that that's actually a unique experience because we have the possibility to receive publications and NOTAMs from all over the world. And so we know the style, we know the mechanisms, even we know the problems that some countries have because we receive their information so we can more or less understand what's going on. So all this experience of processing the aeronautical information worldwide, and just to give you a hint, just to give you an idea, we are processing static data coming from the AIPs, and we're inputting this information into the EAD. And just to give you an idea, we have loaded more than 76 entities, 76,000 entities, only last year, yeah, with an increase of 161%. Well, what's more important is that we are so familiarized with the publications and the data coming from the rest of the states that we can also identify the common errors. And if you have a look at the common errors, there are actually critical entities like NAVAIDS, like airdrome heliport associated ones, and so on, so on. So we understand all these problems. Yeah, we are familiarized with the country's data. Talking about NOTAM processing, meaning dynamic processing, for the last 8 years, we actually see that there has been an increase of more than double, yeah. From which we have processed around 600,000 NOTAMs. So you can imagine the experience we have processing this type of dynamic data, meaning the NOTAM. We have tried to reduce the amount of NOTAMs issued or published because we see here almost 1.5 million NOTAMs issued only in 2018. Yeah, we're talking about this amount of NOTAMs. And out of these 1.5 million, we have processed a little bit more than 500,000. So who is then processing the rest? Well, the rest are okay. They don't have any error. But talking about errors, if we see the figures here, many of these NOTAMs, actually 80% of the NOTAMs manually processed, they come with errors. And we need to take care of these errors to put them in the database, to put them in the AD. Yeah, and the most common problem is actually the georeferences. For those of you who are familiar with NOTAM, the georeference is actually the biggest problem, as you can see here. And another problem, it's actually the queue line. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the queue line, but the queue line is actually supposed to support automatic processing. But not even this queue line, which is the reason for this queue line is for automatic processing. It's still wrong. Yeah. So we have been facing all these problems, and we have been processing all these NOTAMs. So those were the problems. We know that the solution back in 2003 was the implementation of the AD. And then I came with this document, the roadmap from the transition from AIS to AIM, and then it was given to the community. So the community was very interested in moving from paper to data. But every change brings challenges, yeah? And of course, the first challenge AIS units are having, it's actually the lack of resources. Because in the meantime, you need to continue creating your own products, yeah? But the most important resource, it's actually the people. Yeah, it's not only about money all the time, but it's also about the people. Yeah, who is going to train my people? How will I assure that my people understand these new concepts, these new technologies that will help me moving through AIM? Another problem is the lack of time. Yeah, well, that's a problem almost for everybody. Yeah, we don't have time enough for doing the things we would like to do. And another problem is actually the lack of training. Yeah. We're talking about new concepts. Many of them are very modern concepts like GML, XML, UML. So these type of models, we just hear them, but we don't really understand what are they. So we need a training. We need to provide this training to our staff so they are capable of actually understanding the concepts and working as expected. In Group AD, we've been supporting not only the definition of the regulations associated with this transition from AIS to AIM, but of course also supporting the many states. And with our support, we can assure that at least 2/3 of these steps in the transition from AIS to AIM are achieved. So another problem, another challenge that we have in this revolution of moving from paper to digital data, it's actually the data migration. Yeah. So we can define two scenarios. The first one is actually moving from paper to data. How can I take this AIP that I have here and how I put it in a database? Yeah. This is actually the first challenge. And another challenge is that now we have many countries who have created already a database, yeah, but they have it in an older version, like in AXM 4.5. So to these two scenarios, we call them data migration, yeah, moving from the AAP to the database, or also moving or changing the model, yeah, from 4.5 to AXM 5.1, or from ARINC to AXM 5.1. So we also have had the chance during all these 16 years of experience in EAD to have supported a lot of companies and organizations all over the world, especially with, I just want to mention some of them that we have helped them to move from paper to data, like NAF Canada, for instance, like DFS, and Israel as well. And most important, the majority of the European countries, we have also supported them in a way to move their paper to data. Talking about the second type of scenario, which is moving from a different model version, from 4.5 to 5.1, we're actually supporting Eurocontrol to transform this database in the AD, which was in 4.5, to move to 5.1. And we are almost at the end, yeah, of this, and they have had our cooperation of your control. So I know I talk very much. I know I talk a lot, and now after I have shown you all the challenges, so my colleague Oscar, which is very good for giving solutions, will give us what is the solution in this.
So hello, I'm also here, but I was just we're running out of time, but also the music is increasing, so it will be more difficult to follow. Just to finish, he has been repeatedly saying that training is a key factor. So the capacity building of the staff, which is working for us. It's not only the new coming staff, but also the staff that you have already currently working in the AIS divisions, how to lead them to transition from AIS to IAM, which is also an evolution, and it is obviously a revolution. So this is the fact. Since 2003, when we started operations in EAD for the European AIS database, we have been training a lot of different countries, mainly in the European context, linked to the Eurocontrol contract that we have to run the EAD. So initially we started this with the EAD training, basically INO, which is NOTAM production, SDO static data and associated to these tools. But actually we understood that the countries also needed a different type of trainings, and we developed many other courses available. So all during these 16 years, we have been already training so many countries worldwide. As I mentioned, which is our core region is Europe, but we have been very frequently outside Europe, 1G, Zambia, and we have some witnesses here. So yes, with more 72 countries participated. You see the amount of hours dedicated to training. The average satisfaction has always been like 98% of it. In our website, Group EAD, you will be able to see all the training possibilities that we have. We have obviously this all related data quality, aeronautical data quality, quality management systems, transition from AIS to AM, AIXM, all those are available, listed there. We are very flexible, so we can adapt to mainly to the needs of the country or the client, whoever it is, and we do training mainly in Madrid, in Frankfurt, which is normally our training centers, but we can also do it on site. We can prepare and adapt and go into your places. We can even go far away to Zambia and provide training there. So we are always happy to do it. This is just an overview of the countries we have mainly visited. We still have to adapt the map and to some more colors, but in the names that you see that we have them. So initially, this is all about training, which is as already Henry mentioned, is one of the key factors of transitioning from the paper-based culture to the more digital environment. It is where we are. And just to conclude, when we are providing training somewhere and we are just facing the students, at the beginning they might be a little bit afraid, like, okay, we are just changing the way we're working today. We're used to work with paper. Maybe now they also have CD, but they need to adapt also to work in a more digital environment. They're a little bit afraid if my working position will change or will maybe disappear. And it is not the case. The working position will be there. The only thing that it is going to change is the way you are working and you are producing the data. So as we started to say, this is a revolution, which is the evolution and the transition from the paper to the digital environment. So, Silly, this is where you can find us. You can find us in mainly Group EAD website. We have these two premises in Spain and Germany, and we are more than happy to attend you, to respond to your mails or to your questions. We're very open. Thank you very much for listening to us and being here today.